Hey guys, thanks for watching. Why am I finding artifacts and not metal detecting? Well, I noticed a trend in my channel. During the summer months, my views drop way off, and during the winter months, they tend to peak. Here's the reason for that. I'm finding history more during the winter months because I've been primarily detecting. During the summer months, detecting really shuts off for me in the mountains here. So this year I decided to change things up and focus primarily on artifact hunting during the summer. And everything's stabilized. Now, it's not the views I'm concerned about. I want to be out there finding history year-round, and I think this is the best way for me to do it. So it is still hot. We're going to focus on the artifacts. A couple videos ago, you saw me find a really rare artifact called a banner stone. I got so excited about finding it that I actually neglected to explain what it was. Some of you guys called me out on it, and I'm grateful for it. We're going to correct that, and I'm going to explain what a banner stone is. We're also going to talk a little bit more in depth about these arrowheads that I'm finding. Guys, I've actually found very few arrowheads. What I am finding is projectile points, and you need to understand the difference because it tells us a lot about the age of the site that we're digging. And that's important if you love history. Stay tuned for some cool artifacts coming out of the dirt just ahead. Red has discovered a previously undiscovered Native American encampment right in this spot, and he has been pulling a lot of artifacts. A lot of big old quartz points and stuff like that. Some charcoal down deep, fire rock, it's got it all here. So we're going to be digging artifacts. And it's just a crude little point. Little dude, almost kind of unifaced. But we will take it. You can see Red's working his way back into the bank, and as it's really, really wet dirt, really sticky. So as he's working it out, I'm going through with the rake and working the loose piles with the rake, seeing what we can find. All right, here's something kind of cool. You see the color change in the dirt right here? Well, we're seeing it as we go back into this bank, and right out of this spot, this fire rock came out, and it looks like it possibly could have been used to grind something, but we start seeing this stuff just as soon as we see that dirt color change. So we're going to work this area out and down in here, and I'm going to go ahead and bet there'll be something else, some more of this stuff right in that general vicinity, and maybe an artifact or two. See the color change in the dirt? This is what's come out. All this napping came out there about 12-13 inches, but right in here you can see the actual charcoal. What's that? That's well over a foot down. And so just kind of flip that a little bit easy right in there, Dad. Just kind of flip that up a little bit. There. So right there is the old ancient fire bed. How big of a fire, how long it was used, that stuff I don't know, but I do know this was a fire spot. We're going to keep working around it. All right, so here's what's popped out so far. We got, well, that's not a tip, that's a point. It's just it's been worked down. I thought it was a broke off tip, but it ain't. This crude dude, and then a little tiny unifaced bird point type flake. May have been a little bit bigger at one point, but definitely, see if you can see the mark. There we go. Got the flaking on the edge there. But David just pulled out a hunker. Look at that big old point. Big old Appalachia style. That's cool. Alright, we're going to keep getting back to it. Well, since we have a variety coming out of this site, now's a good time to talk about projectile points. Projectile points were used on 3 different platforms: the spear, the Atlatl, and then lastly, bow and arrow. Now, the spear and atlatl, they operated simultaneously throughout history. And it's difficult to really know whether you have an atlatl point or a true spear point. But arrowhead points, they are much easier to identify. They're very small, usually. Now, an atlatl dart, don't let that term mislead you, was essentially a spear in and of itself. Probably about the thickness of your thumb, and they could be 6-8 feet long. So the points that were attached to them can be very large sometimes. The true arrowhead points, though, are very small because the arrow shaft is probably about the size of your pinky. So the base of these points needed to be much smaller. The point that Red just found, the large quartz point, could be either a spear point or an atlatl point. But you did see a true arrowhead, and I called it a bird point because that's what many collectors, we just gotten in the habit of calling those small arrowheads bird points. But they're true arrowheads, and it could have been used on game much larger than something, like a small bird. I'm going to show you a chart that really helps break down kind of the ages of these things. And it's important because when we're finding these large quartz points and we're finding these small true arrowheads together, that tells us this site was in operation over thousands of years. People were using this, maybe even a period 6, maybe even 8,000 years old in some situations. That's something really handy to know. Well, David just grabbed one handful of dirt, and in that one handful, both of those points were in there. That is very cool. Got another one. Is that the base of one? Maybe on a little pocket of them, but yep, both of them are right there together. That is kind of a cool looking one. All right, we'll be back in just a second. All right, guys, it is quitting time. It has been hard work, to say the least. There's the results. There's all the work pieces, minus the detritus pile. But there we go. Not too shabby of a day. We'll be back. Well, now that you know the difference between an arrowhead, a spear point, and an atlatl point, I think it's time to talk about the banner stone that I found a couple weeks ago, because that is the best idea that we have as far as a use for a banner stone. We think that they were used in conjunction with an atlatl. So a banner stone, if we're right, would have gone on the throwing stick for the atlatl. Now, here's the problem. Archaeologists have never found a banner stone in context with that atlatl. And so we can't say for sure that's how it was used. But we have real good reason to think so. Why would you put a stone on an atlatl throwing stick? Well, the idea is maybe it was used to help balance it. Some have suggested maybe that it increased accuracy or maybe even throwing power. The problem is there's been a lot of experimentation done with atlatls and banner stones, and nobody has ever really proved that it increases power or accuracy. The best idea is that the banner stone acted as a counterbalance and kind of eased the muscles in the arms, because these guys were hunting with these atlatls. Carrying it through the woods and maybe having it at the ready, that would probably wear your arm out. And in some way, the banner stone and the weight from it balance things out. But it's a true mystery. Now, another thing about the banner stone that's a little curious is how the banner stone seemed to have changed over time. It became extremely ornate, and some of them very large. And that made it impractical for an everyday use on an atlatl. So maybe the banner stone over time became more of a status symbol, or maybe even used ceremonially. The long and short of it is, we don't know for sure. We do know that atlatls were weighted, though, because there's another type of stone, and it's a desirable artifact as well, called a boat stone. Now, a boat stone was found attached to an Atlatl throwing stick in a cave by archaeologists, proving that they did indeed use weights on these Atlatl sticks. So, probably that's where the banner stone was used too, but like I said, we just don't have any definitive proof. But regardless, we know that it was a highly prized possession, and it's something that every artifact hunter wants, even one that's broken in half. This is pretty cool. See this piece right here? I just picked it up, set it right back down where I found it. Look at that. Big old piece of blade, but a fresh break. So I look a little bit further, and I see that. Do I have my first matching piece? Although it is a fresh break. Let's see. It's gotta be it. Right? Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Ooh. Hard to do with one hand. Well, I'll take it. Even though that is a fresh break, it's kind of cool to find both pieces. Good sized little blade there. Well, it's starting to rain, but it looks like I got one more piece. Kind of gross, but it is worked. All right, I just coming out, running from the rain. Literally, it's just a minute behind me, and look at there. Oh, what a pretty little point. Oh, that is cool. I don't find many of that shape made out of quartz. Maybe like a little Kirk corner notch. That's what I'm gonna call it. Awesome. I just wanted to take a second and say a big howdy do to Colby Orr. I was at a gas station this week, and Colby approached me and said he'd been watching the channel, and I don't have a big enough channel for that to happen a whole bunch, so it was kind of cool. So if you happen to see me out and about, say howdy. I appreciated him doing that. There's a little something. Gosh, what a heartbreaker. Oh, look at that. Daggone it. How pretty would that have been? Wow. Oh well. Got 2/3 of it anyway. It's like an older break. All right, we got a chance at a hole in here. Live pool. Looks like some sort of a blade. What are the chances it won't be broke? Not very good at this place. Well, let's make of that one. Yeah, the tip's missing. Okay, well, could have been better, but still an artifact rescued, somewhat. Maybe I should have waited in the truck a minute more. Come back out right after the rain and looky here. Another pretty little point. reckon that might be worth getting struck by lightning for. What you reckon? Very cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed the artifacts, and I hope you learned something. I'm learning every single time I'm out there finding something. That's why I have this channel. And if you want to help me support this channel, a good way to do that, the best way to do that, is just to tell somebody about it or share a video. And another way to do that would be to get some History Hound gear. And you can get that over at Detectees. There's a lot of good diggers that have their shirts and hoodies made by the guys over at Detectees. So support them as well. I'll throw a little link in the description to the video. And I'll see you guys real soon.